I feel like I'm like, there's my dial up. I'm not processing. Hello, I'm Dany Crooks, and welcome to Revenge Recap. Today's episode is going to be chapters 11 through 20, so if you have not watched the first Revenge Recap, highly suggest that you go back and do so now. What is Revenge Recap? Revenge Recap is my idea of going through and enjoying this journey and talking about this book before Vengeance of the Gods, which is the sequel that comes out December 5th. So I, as a young reader, was I was not a rereader. Just there was too many other books that I wanted to read. So I just never reread things. And I always wanted there to be kind of like a Cliff Note version of the books that I love to read. This is kind of my way of doing that now that I have control over things. So if you're not a rereader like me, I'm going to kind of break down each of these chapters, starting with the basics. Please remember that while this is a recap, I do not have time to go into full world building and really read the entire book with you guys again. So I will do my best to point out which chapters are going to be like very world building in case you just want to go back and kind of get some hints. So if you see me looking down to make sure that my mic is on, it's because I did this once and had 40 minutes of video that didn't have audio because something died, and I don't want to do that again. I'm exhausted, and this is the third time I've tried this, and it's gonna be fine. I cannot avoid spoilers, so if you have not read Revenge of the Forgotten or Heart of the Villain, you're gonna need to do that. So those books in the Cursed God series are available on Kindle Unlimited for free. You can buy the ebook on Amazon, and if you ever feel inclined to support me directly, I do direct sales on my website, and it comes with goodies and all that stuff. So let's dive in. So let's talk about where we're at. So 1 through 10 was Arlott going to Earth and finding Vega and just kind of convincing her to go on this crazy long road trip. And Vega being like, well, I don't have anything to lose, so here I go. I'm just going to go on this trip with this girl and kind of trust her. And you meet Bridger, and you kind of start to see his shields and the walls that he's built start to crumble a little bit. And we're at this point, he is being sent to Earth by Marlena. So that's kind of where we are at, 1 through 10. So 11, we start off inside of Bridger's head. And I'm going to probably point this out every time I get to this point. We're having a flashback. We are in Bridger's head. He is having a dream. This is technically the second on-page flashback that we're having of him. So this is the second one that we are directly seeing. You don't see all of the dreams and things that Bridger has, obviously, because I'm not showing you every night he goes to sleep. You just know that every time he falls asleep, he is having these dreams of Vega. So this writing style for the way that I wrote Bridger's flashbacks and the dreams, and even Vega going into her little like episodes, I guess you could say, that's very intentional. These characters are feeling these feelings, and for Vega, remembering these things for the first time. And I don't want you to know that these characters are having flashbacks. I want you to get the raw, real, emotional impact of these memories. If they were italicized or pointed out, some people do tend to not pay attention quite as much. Revenge is one of those books that you kind of have to pay attention to some of the small details. I don't want you to know that you are in the character's dream state. I want you to feel these emotions just like that character is. You think in that moment that this is really happening until all of a sudden, holy shit, we're being thrust out of their head, and that was a dream and it wasn't current time. So we start chapter 11 inside of a dream with Bridger, and it is the night that Marlena kills her parents, summons the 12 original gods, and overthrows their 1,000-year-old government. You know at this point that Marlena has done those things, but you have not seen it. This memory is Bridger seeing through his eyes this night. We know, reading up to chapter 11, that Marlena is taking over. We know that she has done all of these crazy things, but we haven't gotten to see it. Where we are at in this memory, they do not know that. All they know at this point is that Marlena has killed Vega's mom and madness breaks out. We later do see this scene kind of play out in a different way through court's point of view. But at this moment, they don't have, these characters in this dream do not have any idea what is happening. All they know is that Marlena is going on this crazy rampage. Somehow him and Vega, throughout this chaos ensuing, they get separated, and Bridger is looking for her, but instead of finding Vega, he runs into his mom, Katrin. Katrin is basically telling him, it's time for you to stand by your family's side, and we've let this thing with Vega go on a lot longer than we should have, so stop playing house. She's saying, like, Vega's already dead, like, and Bridger's obviously like, no, she can't be dead, that's not right. And then Katrin goes into being like, well, if she's not dead, then like she's gonna be soon, and just like get over it. So Katrin is telling him, like, this is your destiny. You are not just any regular warrior, you are destined for greatness. As this is happening, Bridger hears Vega running down the hall calling for her dad, because we know at this point that the mom, they're, we haven't seen it yet, but we know that her mom is dead, and Jonan is the only one who's alive, who's Marlena and Vega's father. Or rather, they don't know what's happened to him. They haven't found him. So Vega's running through the halls of her heiress home in Stella, which, remind you, is the place that Vega has grown up. Stella is the capital of Toliver, which is an heiress. Heiress is kind of the main hub of Toliver in a way. In Roman mythology, Jupiter, who Marlena and Vega are both descendants of through their dad, he is the god of gods. So he would be who Zeus would be. He's the biggest ruler. While they have the 12 territories to kind of protect the power, like a power dynamic, and not have anybody try to take over, there is still one god who kind of looms over all in a way. Like, he keeps everybody in line. So Vega is looking for him. And Katrin is in this room with Bridger, and she kind of like catches notice that Vega's running by, and Bridger unsheaths his sword from the scabbard that he wears on his back. And mind you, this is Marlena's induction night, so they're probably like dressed to the nines. Bridger always is going to have, daggers and stuff hidden on him, but they're all dressed up. This was a like big fancy event, so Bridger is, in his probably all black suit tailored to fit him perfectly, and gold accents. So he probably, at this point, he's not going to go anywhere without a sword. Pulls his sword out and he pins his bomb with the tip of the sword, like digging into her neck. And he says these words that if this isn't touch her and die, then I don't know what is, because Bridger. I love seeing the flashbacks of him just loving her and the things that he would have done for her. He was... Anyway, he says, if you so much as lay a finger on her, I will make you long for the mercy I'm showing you now. I'll get you from the inside out and leave you on display as an example of what happens when you hurt the people I love. Touch her and die. Obviously. She is like, oh my god, how dare you threaten me? Right, Katrin, are you fucking kidding me right now? Bridger, in Bridger fashion, tells her, that's not a threat, it's a promise. And then it goes on to say that that is a mistake he will regret for the rest of his life, and it was letting his mother live. And you can just feel the hatred that he has. So then this chapter then goes into showing Marlena using some of these powers that, again, they don't know that she has summoned the gods at this point. They're just seeing her use these crazy powers, and they're kind of like, what the fuck have you done? They run in and find Marlena using one of her powers to hold Jonan, their father, up in the air. And Vega kind of has this realization of, oh my god, what has happened? Like, what has she done? She just saw Marlena holding her mom's head over this party. So Vega's in shock. She finally sees her father. Her father is alive. Marlena and her have this moment of, like, what have you done? How have you done this? And Marlena being like, I'm doing what everybody wanted me to do. I'm ruling. I think one of the most like powerful things in this is at the end of Heart, knowing what we know about what Marlena has done is really cool to then kind of come back and look at this part of the story. Vega's like, this isn't ruling. Like, you murdered our mom, our friends, our family. Like, this isn't, what is happening to you? And Marlena is telling her, like, all of the signs have been there the whole time. Like, they've been there. You just missed every single one of them. But Marlena says, fuck, if you just would have listened to me, I wouldn't have to kill you. So at this point in the story, in the timeline of this is right after she has summoned her gods, kills her mom, and then the attack happens, and there's like a big battle going on in Eris right now. Vega at this moment is not cursed. Knowing Marlena, knowing what we know about her, it's gonna happen. So a battle breaks out. Bridger and Marlena are kind of fighting. Vega is trying to help her dad, and fast forward to Bridger basically being like, we need to get out of here. I need to save you. I'm not going to like let you get caught up in this. Your dad is dying. Your dad, he's already kind of like, I don't care about his dad or her dad. Like, I am going to get Vega out of here. In Vega being like, we're not leaving my dad behind. So they try to go get Jonan, who Marlena then rips his heart out. I just had to go delete stuff off of my phone because apparently the storage is full. And that's an issue when I'm trying to record. And Bridger in this moment is like, oh, I don't care. We're not sticking around for this. He's dead. I got to get Vega out of here. As they're leaving, Marlena has, her dad's probably still beating heart in her hand. And as they're running, Marlena's screaming after them and saying, you can run, Vega, but you can't hide. I will find you, and I'm going to take everyone you love from you, one by one. Your perfect little life is going to crumble like the halls of this hollowed house will, like the Curia who underestimated me did. I'm going to make you feel as alone as you let me be. Wow. That is harsh for a sister to say, especially, mind you, they don't have any idea what's going on at this moment. They just know that Marlena has snapped and she's killing everyone. So coming out of that, this actually is one of the dreams that I did actually like end it with like a scene break. And it was just because of what I needed to dive into to like the next part of the story. So I kind of needed to skip the waking up part. But that doesn't happen for the most part. Going back into this, Meyer, in the morning, they wake up, they're getting ready to go to Earth. I mean, at this point, Meyer is kind of questioning, like, is he okay? This is his best friend, somebody that he's known his entire life. So he knows when Bridger is kind of acting a little off. Bridger basically answers with being like, I don't have a choice but to not be okay. And when Meyer asks, like, are you going to be able to do this today? Meaning go get Vega on Earth with all of these dreams that are starting to haunt him. And Bridger, his response is like, yeah, I just don't have another choice. Like, you think that I have a choice, but I don't, not in this circumstance. Meyer being like, I'm just making sure that, you're okay. And Bridger, again, is starting to get angry. We're starting to see that maybe facade, or we're seeing his emotions come back. He kept them all blocked off for a really long time, so he wasn't being the person that he was meant to be. He says, I'm sick of people assuming I'm one step away from running back into the arms of the woman who ruined my life. Vega is nothing to me. She will always be nothing to me. And while he's saying these words very confidently, inside, Bridger is not feeling so confident about that. This then comes into chapter 12, where we meet Kristen, my PA and bestie. We meet her favorite character, Halo. Halo is a very young 19-year-old traveler. And remember, travelers are from Frous, and they are descendants of Mercury. Mercury, if you know about mythology, I always go back to Greek mythology because it's what people know the most of. So in Roman mythology, Mercury is basically Hermes. He is kind of known for his trickery. He is known for kind of being like sneaky. So again, Halo is from Frous, and that is kind of who they are known to be. They're known to be not like the most trustworthy people. Example, Bridger's mother, Catherine, is not a trustworthy person. We get to meet Halo. A little parched talking about him. Halo originally was, in the first draft, was a lot younger. He's only 19, which, again, in the span of gods, it's relatively young. He was actually younger. He was about 15, I think, in my first draft. But the more I thought about it and the more I kind of like fell in love with his character and just kind of built a backstory for him, I realized that when he does get a spinoff, it picks up kind of where book 3 leaves off. And so he would have been too young to have a spinoff series for myself, like for what I want to write for him. So we aged him up a little bit, but Halo is Kristen's boy, and we love him, and we do eventually start to learn a little bit more about him. We start this chapter with Bridger going for a run, and he kind of wants to be alone, so he doesn't ask Meyer to go on a run with him. And as he's running, he's kind of thinking of everything that's going on, him seeing Vega, his dreams, and then him knowing that he has to go after her on Earth. It feels like it's consuming him. He's even asking himself, like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, get your shit together. We don't have time to let this become a big thing. He's running, he stops and is like kind of catching his breath, which is not natural for Bridger. He is peak athleticism. It's kind of warrior territory kind of thing, but also him being the commander, he has earned his athleticism. He kind of has this moment where he's like, oh my god, I have to like stop for a second because he's like getting so worked up over the thoughts of what's happening. And when he does that, Marlena pops in, of course, and Bridger says that he obviously anticipates that because he's getting ready to go to Earth. So they have this conversation. This is another kind of big world building piece. If you guys want to read, this is chapter 12. It's got some good information. So you get to see Marlena kind of open up about why she's sending Bridger to Earth. Like, why now? It's been 55 years. I've never had to go after her. Like, why now? Gets it out of her by being like, just blunt. And the only person that can speak to Marlena this way is Bridger, because Marlena is not stupid. We know that. Marlena needs Bridger. She says this here. So Bridger basically is like, drop the fucking act. Like, isn't it exhausting to act this way all the time around people? Marlena is just playing this cute little like, you just missed a really good dinner last night. I don't know why you're mad at me. And Bridger's like, fuck off. Like, that's a load of shit. You need to tell me why I'm going to Earth to get Vega. Like, or I'm not going. I'll send somebody else. I'm a busy man. I'm dealing with your bullshit all the time. Basically, Marlena, without giving exactly what she needs, says, I can finally end this like once and for all. All I need is for Vega to give me a piece of information that I feel like she's hiding from me, you know? Does this information sound like something that I should be telling to everybody? Should I just announce it to the realm? She's like, the less I know, the better. And Bridger immediately goes into defense mode because he's like, I'm not everybody. I'm the commander of your fucking army, and you're sending me to Earth after my ex-girlfriend, who, mind you, I can't stop fucking dreaming about, and you're just ordering me off. You're gonna tell me. You're gonna tell me. And so Marlena doesn't have another choice. You know, Marlena's trying to play coy and trying to be, I didn't do that to you, which might not work on Bridger, but like probably work on me. She's like, I didn't make you look like a fool. And Bridger's like, yeah, the fuck you did. You're not going to treat me like the dog that you turned my dad into. Vega's your problem, but like, you're making her my problem. And you might not think you need me, but you do. And you've made it clear, or I wouldn't be going off to Earth, right? Marlena's kind of just like, what in the fuck? And Bridger finally like gets her to say it. She is like, fine, I need you. I need you because if you're not mine, then you're Vega's. And we know how that ended in the first few lives. You are the key to breaking her. She knows that by keeping Bridger on her side, this is the only reason that she lets him get away with all of the things that she lets him get away with, for, you know, the things that he says, the things that he does. Marlena would have killed other people for the things that she lets Bridger get away with. And then Bridger does this whole, good girl, but everything you said after I need you was unnecessary. And again, just pushing back. And then he leaves and leaves Marlena there. And we have a scene break and we roll into officially meeting Halo. And Halo is this lanky, skinny, scrawny 19-year-old kid who just wants a place to belong. He's from Frous, he's an orphan. His parents never cared about him. You know, he grew up with just looking for love and looking for somewhere to belong. And he's looking for it in basically any way that he can have it. So we meet him. Bridger's asking him how his powers work because remember, he is a special traveler. His power manifests a lot differently than most people. Halo is the only person who can also take people with him when he travels. So most of the time, you know, you step through these pages of Tolliver and you end up in a different location. And it's just the one person. It's just whoever has this traveler's ability, who is Frous born and gets that portion of the power. Nobody can do what Halo does. So Halo is able to take people with him when he travels. And Bridger asks how it works, and he's like, I don't really know. And Bridger's like, well, we're off to a great fucking start with this kid. So they get everything packed up, and Bridger's like, all right, you ready? Like, they're strapped down with all their knives and like ready to go to the portal. And Halo's like, I'm ready, are you? And then grabs both him and Meyer, because Meyer's going with him, grabs them both and takes them to the portal, which the portal has been moved, and that is an intentional thing by Marlena. It is a way to kind of throw Arlot off when Arlot comes back through the portal, because the portal has never been in Vaith, which is where Arlott is from. So this is going to throw Arlott off. It's just a little stab to her. Meyer is like freaking out about this traveling thing because it really sucks. It's not like a fun experience. Obviously, the more you do it, the more you get used to it. But Meyer's like, never again. He like goes after Halo. You see Halo kind of doing his little bounce around thing. And they go to the portal. They go through. What I also would like to point out is the portal can only be seen by people directly linked to Vega. So Halo knows the location of the portal, but he can't see it, and neither can Meyer. And Meyer can only go through this because he is connected to Bridger. Bridger, brings him with him. This leads us into Chapter 13. Chapter 13, it is the end of the girls' road trip. They show up to the Redwood Forest. This is another big, lots of information going on in this chapter. So Chapter 13 is a good one if you want to go back and get a little refresher. We learn about the curse and a lot of Vega's missing pieces and why the curse affects her in the best way that we can. Because remember, while they kind of think they know things, everything that they think they know is more of an assumption because there's nobody that's dealt with this. Nobody's ever lived summoning, after a summoning. Nobody has ever had this curse that they have on them or on Vega. So everything is so fresh and everything is so new. So everything that they say about what they think they know about the curse, what they think they know about the bond, what they think they know about the summoning is all that. It is just an assumption because nothing is 100% set in stone until it is. Sometimes things just don't make sense, and that's kind of how Arlott is acting about this situation. I think this is funny too, because there is still the, moment where this road trip is over and Vega has heard all of these things and they have reached the location of where this portal to take them home is supposed to be. Vega still is questioning everything that's happening. She still has this little suspicion of this could go wrong and this girl could try to kill me. So she just makes sure when she grabs the things that she needs to take with her, she grabs her passport, she grabs a pocket knife, and in her head she's thinking, passport in case I end up dismembered, someone can identify my body, hopefully the passport's there. Pocket knife in case I need to dismember someone, can you do that with a pocket knife? So she's just trying to plan ahead. She also reminds herself, do not break down now. Comes back to Bridger again. So as we move through this, Vega has this moment where when she finds out that she's the reason that this wonderful woman who Vega's mom on Earth was a really great person. So she realizes that these people who are in her life are being affected. It's not fair that it's happening to these good people. And so, yeah, she is starting to cry and she's starting to kind of for the first time let these emotions come out in a sad way. Arlott is there to say something that we find out that she says in multiple lives, and it's okay to be sad, but do not let yourself believe that this is your fault. You are a mere butterfly caught in the web of a deadly spider. And that's just Arlott reminding her that it's okay that you're sad about this, but this life isn't your fault. We then move into her seeing the portal for the first time and realizing that everything that Arlott has said is true, and they're standing there and somebody is starting to come through and the portal is starting to shimmer and look a little funny. Arlott's run, get out, run, you need to go. And Vega's oh, where am I even supposed to go? I'm in the middle of the Redwood Forest. What? Where am I supposed to go? As someone comes through, her eyes land on the most dangerously handsome man she has ever seen. It is Bridger. He's prettier than the dreams ever could have made him be. She realizes as he comes through in this skin-tight black suit that they're known to wear, their fighting gear, their training gear. And he unsheathes a sword from the middle of his back in that scabbard that he always wears. Vega's don't fucking pass out. She's starting to get scared. She's starting to get a little panicky. She's we don't have time. We don't have time to pass out, girl. You need to keep your shit together. And so she runs, but she's being chased by a new guy. And he's hey, just save us some time here, girl. You can't escape the inevitable, so just stop running. Just chill out. You're gonna die. She realizes that this man chasing her is also hot. So why is everyone from this realm hot? Because, duh. This is the first time that he calls her Sparks, that Meyer calls her Sparks, and I just love that. He says, you look good, Sparks, a little scrawny, but still as pretty as ever. And she's fuck you, which is very on brand for Vega to do. He is oh god, oh, and you're spunky, oh god, you got an attitude problem, Bridger's screwed. Bridger's screwed because that's very Vega. She always had that like spitfire, said whatever, just because what are you going to do about it? I literally wield lightning. Vega runs again, and Meyer says, you always did love a good chase. And I think that that's funny because it's a play on word as well. But moving forward, Vega starts to pray, saying that she'll go to church, this God that she doesn't believe in, lets her live. Then she goes, oh shit, wait, hold on, like, maybe I should pray to the Roman gods. Wait, hold on, they're dead. So she's having this moment where she's like, I don't even know what to do. You get to kind of see moody, broody Bridger in this, where like Arlott punches him in the face. You don't see this, but he has a broken nose and he's mad about it. And he's like, I don't care what the fuck we do. Get Vega, we're getting out of here. I hate this realm. This no powers bullshit is stupid. And I want out of here. Kill Arlott for all I care. Which, Bridger, chill out. Relax. Arlott finds Vega. They're getting ready to run. Bridger grabs Vega, throws her to the ground by the collar of her shirt. Bridger's standing over her and is like, hi, kitten. She says, it's you. And he, for a moment, we're not in Bridger's head, but she sees him kind of like hesitate for just a quick second. But in Bridger's head, giving you a sneak peek into that, she's never had any memories of anything that's happened. So this is new. This is confusing. This is what the fuck? So he does have that momentary pause where he's like, what do you mean? But he recovers quickly, as, you know, he does. He's like, yes, your worst nightmare, here to bring you home. Vega doesn't get the time to admit what she was meaning because Meyer ends up coming into the situation and chokes Vega out until she blacks out. When she blacks out, she does have another flashback, and we get to see Marlena, Arlott, and Vega as young girls. Vega and Arlott, they're probably 12 to 14, and Marlena is probably like anywhere from 14 to 16. Like that's our age range right now. So it's the girls getting ready for Floralia. Floralia is a springtime celebration that was celebrated in ancient Rome, and it was for the goddess Flora, and she was over like fertility and plant growth and things like that. There's games and goodies and tents of trades and things to buy, and the girls are really excited to go. The girls are getting ready to leave. They have their flower crowns on. They're going to Floralia. Marlena and Vega's parents come home. The parents are like, where do you guys think you're going? And they're like, oh, we're going to the festival, blah, blah, blah. It's last day. Like, you promised that we could go. And they're like, you guys might be going, but Marlena's not going. And they have this moment where it's kind of like, that's not fair. And like, you promised that she could go. She got all her work done. Marlena's like, I did everything that you wanted me to do. And he's like, that's where you're wrong. Your work as a leader never, ends. Vega's like, Mom, we were just going to go for a few. And her mom cuts her off and is like, Vega, please stay out of this. You and Arlott go have a good time. Say hi to court. And basically, like, they're like, go girls. We're going to deal with Marlena. Marlena's like, can I please go for an hour? Like, all I want. And Jonan is like, shut the fuck up. And Vega is young. And she's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't convince my parents. I tried. I did what I can do. She's like, I'll get you a tart. Like, I'll get you your favorite berry tart. And that berry tart, let's talk about this. That berry tart, I fell in love with a berry tart when I was working in Jacksonville, Florida. There was a Whole Foods right down the road from me. So I would go like on my lunch break and get Whole Foods, and there was a berry tart there. And it was, oh my God, it was the best berry tart. So that's where that comes from. It's Whole Foods berry tart, if you ever had it. I don't know if it's called a berry tart. It might be. I know it's a tart and it's got like fresh fruit and stuff on it. So, and as Vega is the doors being closed, Vega peered over her shoulder, watching Marlena stare darken into the door to their home slam shut. Remember, Marlena's 15, 16 years old or so. So you're already starting to see that, like, her parents' abuse starting to affect her. So this comes into chapter 15, and this is a Bridger chapter, and we are still on Earth, and Bridger is like, holy shit, what did she mean by that? There's 3 sentences. This is the first paragraph, and they're all the same words. It's him saying, it's you, it's you, it's you. It's him hearing Vega's voice saying that over and over again. And that kind of distracts him. Him and Arlott are fighting, and Arlott, being the badass that she is no longer this girl who doesn't have any powers. It's been 55 years. She was helped be, back in the day, Bridger was helping train everybody. So she has been trained by Bridger, and that wouldn't have stopped when the rebellion kicked in, when Marlena did what she did, and Bridger was with them for 15 years. he wouldn't have stopped training. She's learned a lot, and now it's been even 40 years since he knew how she fought, kind of thing. She steals his dagger, gets his dagger from him, and stabs him. She's able to flee and go find Vega. Her and Meyer are now fighting, and as strong as Arlott is and all of the lives that she's had to go find Vega, we have to remember that Arlott, she's gone through a lot too. She spent a lot of time alone on Earth in a world that she also does not belong, trying to find the only friend that has ever mattered to her. And like, it's the same thing that Vega would have done if it were Arlott that was in the cursed position. But she's not the same girl, so she outsmarts him, but she also still is not a warrior. She's not a general, she's not a commander. She's getting tired, but she roundhouse kicks Meyer in the fucking temple, and what a badass. Meyer passes out. We go back to Bridger and Vega. This is a big action scene. Bridger is still on this like it's you thing. Arlott now, because she's getting tired and she's trying to like get Vega's body to the portal, and like everything's going crazy. She's like, enough, Bridger, please, like, please just stop, let me get her to a healer. And he's like, oh, you think because you asked nicely that I'm gonna forgive you for stabbing me? No. But also, while this it's you stuff is going on, Arlott is like, please, like, don't let her die again, like, don't do this again. And Bridger, I want this to be pointed out, Bridger, when he is kind of saying bad things about Vega, he is parroting what Marlena says. So pay attention to the things that Marlena says about Vega throughout this series, because it's Bridger hearing what Marlena is saying and just saying those things too. Think of it as like if you read or watched the Vampire Diaries, when the Salvatore brothers or when any of the vampires would turn their humanity off, they don't have any feelings. So you have to kind of think of it as like that's what Bridger has done for a very long time. Not fully 40 years, but close enough to 40 years. He says, she's already dead. No matter what you do or how many times you try to save her, Vega will always be dead. She died that day in Eris 55 years ago. Arlott's response is, that's the Vega we know right here. Like right there. She's her. Like the spunk, the fight. That's really her, and she's about to die again. All the work that I've done. Bridger, I know that you're still in there somewhere. Like, I know a piece of you still loves her. And you have to remember that Arlott is also bonded to Bridger, as well as Court is bonded to Bridger, and Bridger is bonded to both of them, and Vega vice versa. You know, these are four bonded souls. And while he does have his, like, shields closed, he's not feeling them in the way that he can, like, sense Vega. Arlott still spent a lot of time with Bridger. She still knows him. So she's trying to get inside of his head. Bridger then goes to say, loving her was my demise. He has this little moment where he looks down at Vega, who is passed out on the ground. However, she is laying. He notices a ring on her finger, and the ring on her finger is a ring that he gave Vega in one of her earliest lives. But the promise that he made to her comes back to him, and that promise is, I will never stop fighting for you, not in this life or any that follow. My love for you is stronger than any darkness this realm can create, me and you forever. And that kind of breaks a piece of Bridger, him seeing that ring, and that's another memory like whacking him right in the face, you know? And while he notices this, Arlott notices him noticing the ring. So she's like, Bridger, she's remembering you. You're in her dreams, and it's happening without intervention, without breaking the curse. Like, her memories are breaking through. Something is happening. And this makes Bridger go, and Arlott for a second like freezes. She's like, did that just work? There ain't no way that just worked. And Bridger's like, get the fuck out of here before Meyer wakes up and I change my mind. Or I change my mind. Arlott, you don't have to tell her twice, she's gone. Bridger wakes Meyer up, and Meyer's like, what did you do? What do you mean? What do you mean she got away? And Bridger gets defensive, and he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? I didn't do anything. They got away. Like, she stabbed me, knocked your ass out, and she got away. And Meyer's like, dude, Marlene's gonna fucking kill you, and I just hope it's quick for your sake. And then even Bridger, at the end of this chapter, the last sentence is, you're gonna regret this, Dimico. And it's Bridger talking to himself and telling himself that he knows that this was a decision that he can never come back from, just like all the other ones that he's made. But this one specifically was a choice. It's not something that he's ever done since being, you know, the commander of Tolvair. He's been pretty ruthless and doesn't show anybody much mercy. So then that goes to chapter 16. This is still with Bridger. They get back through the portal, and he's healing. Halo's gone. They assume that Halo ran into Arlott, and Arlott, like, he couldn't be like, oh, I'm just chilling here by the portal that was moved to Vate. He had to essentially lie and get them back to where they needed to go. So Halo's gone. So they get horses in packs and ride for a while, stop, let the horses have a break, and Meyer asks, like, what are we going to tell Marlena? What's the story? And Bridger's like, there is no story. Like, I got stabbed, you got knocked out, and Vega and them got away. And that's the story he's sticking with. Meyer's like, don't you think he's going to find it hard to believe that, you know, the Waderi without powers outsmarted us? And that's when Bridger's like, I'm sick of caring what Marlena thinks, Meyer. I don't give a fuck. Arlet's stronger than anybody thinks that she is. Bridger does know about Arlet's power. We do learn that later. So he does know that Arlet has a secret power, and he has never betrayed that part. He might have betrayed a lot of other things, but he never, if you hear screaming, we do not have anyone locked in our basement. I swear. It's whatever my husband's watching. Bridger's starting to get snappy with Meyer, which has never been a thing because it's his best friend. And he's like, shut the fuck up, we're not talking about this, let's go, drop it. So we fast forward to them arriving to Stella, which Stella, again, remember, is the capital of Tolliver. It is in Eris. That is where Marlena lives. Word travels fast there, and Marlena already knows something has happened and Vega's not with him. So she storms out and she's like, where is she? Bridger's just like, nah, she got away. Trying to like downplay it. And obviously that doesn't work. She is like, that, what do you mean? They go into this conversation between the two of them. Meyer leaves, and it's kind of the two of them, Bridger and Marlena, talking, and people are around, but remember that Bridger has shields, so at any moment those could be up and nobody could be listening. She's basically like, you let Arlet beat you. Arlet, the Waderi without any powers. Saying the same thing that Meyer did. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You really think that's, you know, I'm gonna believe you? Bridger's like, Marlena, don't be dim. Don't be dumb. Don't be an idiot. You really think that she went through the summoning like we did, like all of us did, and she's unchanged? And then he goes on to say, she's not the same Arlet you used to. And she cuts him off. She says, shut your fucking mouth. She's a rat. She literally calls Arlet, sweet baby Arlet, a rat. So then we kind of move through Marlena being like, you better not be planning anything. Like, Vega is going to die. That's the plan. That's her destiny. Don't make me regret keeping you alive. And Bridger likes to, again, push Marlena. So he says, imagine what would happen if you killed me now. And that's a flex, because imagine what would happen if Marlena just killed Bridger. People would be fucking upended. Specifically the people in his army. He throws that in her face. He is storming off, and Ivel comes up. Ivel is the prefectus of Amora. Prefectuses, or prefecti, however you would like to say that, they are essentially governors of Tolliver. Marlena does have full control, but these people kind of help her rule in a way of, they're her council, right? They're the people that kind of help her keep order, enforce her laws. And she just gives them a tiny piece of power. So Ivel is following Bridger, and she's like, wait, you know, like, Marlena doesn't, she just wants what's best for you, and she just wants to see you move on, and she didn't mean any of the mean things that she said, and she's sorry. Please remember that Ivel Fougere is fucking gorgeous. She is the reason that people would believe in gods. If you saw Ivel, she is stunning, gorgeous copper hair, chartreuse color eyes. She's always dressed like the best that she could possibly be. She's from Amora, where it's always cold, so like if you see her out of her cold environment, she's usually wearing like, you know, like what you would think a Roman goddess would wear, like very white, pretty, complements her skin tone. You know, sandals up her legs, like where when she's not in the cold, she is enjoying it. So she's like, you know, let me distract you. And while this is happening, she's like touching Bridger's arm, and she touches the brand, and it kind of like jolts Bridger. And while she's, you know, running her arm up his, he like switches their grips and grabs onto her arm. In this moment, when she's saying like, I want you to forget her, he's hearing it's you again. Like, he's remembering, like, holy shit, Vega's remembering, what does this mean? So he's holding on to her hand and says, you want a first class ride into darkness? And she's like, duh, hell yeah. He's like leaning in. He's like feeding into it. He's like, oh, okay, you want to play this game? So he's leaning in. He's like whispering in her ear, then go fuck yourself, sir. And that's where that chapter ends. Chapter 17 is Vega waking up in Tolliver. She has made it. This moment when she wakes up, she has no idea where she's at. She kind of panics. She's like, holy shit, did I get taken? The last thing that she remembers is Meyer knocking her out. So when she wakes up, when she knows he's around, she's like, oh my God, I've been taken.
I will find you, and I will kill you.
So she wakes up in Tully Bear, and she's like, I have to find something. And she's rummaging around this bedroom, and she finds a letter opener, and somebody comes barreling through, and she's got her letter opener as a weapon, and it's Court. And we get to meet Court for the first time. Court is there to be like the one and only, because she's like, oh my God, you're Court. I know who you are. She doesn't know, but she like knows. You know what I mean? He explains where they're at and how they're a mile under the Sea of Ross. They're in Castra, and this is home for now. And man, Castra was such a cool concept to have a hidden place so far underneath the ocean. He gives her a tour of Castra, and Vega realizes that people are staring at her, and she kind of asks, not kind of, she asks him, like, why? Why are people staring at me? And he says, you're the face of hope. And I don't mean that in a martyr way. I mean it more so in, like, when they think of Vega, they think of all the shit that she's gone through. And if she can endure it and she can come back every life and try to fight for what's right and fight for her life back, then they can continue to fight too. And Vega doesn't feel that way at all. She has, no memories, and nothing so far has given her this like conception that she's done anything helpful. It just feels like she's never been enough. And that's kind of where we leave this off. She does say, do not break down now again. And there's that piece of Bridger just holding on. But Vega just kind of like counts all of her losses that have been stacked up against her, and is like, she's never been good enough, she's never been smart enough, she's never been enough, just in general. And then we go into chapter 18, where we're still in Castra. Vega has eaten. You found out that she really fucking hates fish, and that's what they eat a mile under the sea in, Castra. That's what you're gonna eat a lot of. So anyway, she's eating, and she doesn't care. She's starved. She's been living on like gas station burritos and fucking Doritos. So this is another chapter with a lot of world building. Arlott comes and finds her, and she's like, hey, I think it's time we like kind of need to have a conversation. So they go for a walk, and they get to this room, and I explain this room as kind of like a classroom, but it's like a reverse fishbowl where they're in the center and the water is around them. Any of the creepy crawly beasts that call the bottom of the sea their home are down there at the mile. It's really dark. So anyway, it's kind of a weird room, but it's a cool concept. They go into this room, and Vega's like, why the secrecy? And Arlott's like, well, we need to kind of talk about everything that's happened, and you've been out for 4 days. And, she's explained to Court up to this point, like, I don't like being left in the dark, and I want to know what's going on. So this is Arlott's piece of like, okay, I'm going to make sure that we do talk about when it has something to do with Vega, that like Vega is going to be in on these decisions. But it's been 55 years, and I'm sure that they have decided not to bring Vega into all of the ins and outs of their operation as a rebellion, and as Castra, being the rebellion's headquarters, essentially. They probably don't let her in on a lot of those things. And after 55 years of trial and error, it's probably for the best. They never know when they're going to lose Vega. They can't have her making decisions. Well, Vega doesn't love that. This is Arlott's way of being like, this is some of the control that we can give her. So she goes off to say that the men who were after her are the commander and the general of Marlena's army, of Tolliver's army. Vega's like, yeah, Bridger is the commander. Court's like, I'm sorry, I must be hearing things. What? Arlott's like, I told you that she's having memories. What did you expect? That Bridger wasn't going to be a part of those? And Court's like, I wish you would have told me. So we are getting to see some of Court's jealousy come through here. While we're learning about him, you're also seeing this man who has been in love with his best friend his entire life. So you're seeing this kind of like knowing that Bridger is a sore subject. And they go on to Arlott kind of having these assumptions again of being like, I think it's the bond, and like, this has never happened before. The power shouldn't be running out. Like, if this curse was going to come to an end, why would it be giving her memories instead of like, like, this just doesn't feel right. Like, it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with the curse. I feel like it's our bond. The bond has always been ever changing, and they have gone through changes, and it kind of gives them whatever they need. So that's kind of where she's at. She points out the ring and is like, he gave that to you in one of your earliest lives, along with promising to never give up on you. And Vega looks down at this ring that she has inspected, pulls it off of her finger, and realizes that BD is. I just said that out loud. BD, Bridger Dimico, not Big. But if the shoe fits. She doesn't realize how she misses this. She drops the ring. Arlet and Court are kind of going back and forth between this whole thing, saying like just being honest and being, being smart, being this rational person that Arlet does try to be. Having Bridger back on their side would cripple Marlena, and they know that, and Marlena knows that. So they're kind of on that same wavelength. Arlet knows that if they had Bridger, things would be different, and Marlena knows that too. She's laying it out all on the table. She's, Bridger was only ever here for Vega, and when Vega started to change, and of course he was going to leave. He wasn't here for us. He was here for Vega. Marlena knew that breaking them up would be a blow to the rebellion and to the bonded. Vega, during this argument, is trying to get their attention. She's like, hello, hello. And Court is like, I know, absolutely not. We're not doing this. Like, I'm not even considering this. This is not happening. And Arlet's being like, we can use him. Like, we could make this work. And Vega finally is like, hello, and like picks up this ruler and like smacks it against the board at the front of this classroom. And she's like, thank you. Now answer my question. Why did you give me this ring back? And Arlet's like, you threw it in the sea, and I figured that one day we could use it. And it worked because Bridger let us go. Another fact that Court doesn't know, but again, Arlet wants Vega to be a part of some of these things. He's basically like, don't think that because he had this moment of weakness because he saw a ring that this means that he's on our side again. Arlet's like, yeah, you fucking idiot. I know that. God, you think I'm stupid? It comes into this thing where Vega's like, I know that I've taken a really long time, but like, don't you think, like, I've been through all this for 55 years. Like, I've only been back for a few days. Don't you think that I should get a little bit of a break? Like, cut me some slack kind of thing. She's like, I've got a lot to catch up on. Now I've got to figure out why the man I used to love doesn't want to be with me. Or now he has sided with the sister that wants me dead. And Court kind of just is like, no, he gave up on you. And, our people have given you plenty of time. Time's running out. I told you earlier that you are the face of hope, but that doesn't mean that everybody believes that. And a lot of people, 55 years is a long time to hold out hope for someone who never delivers. Vega's like, damn, ouch. Doesn't want to hear his apology and is like, no, you know what? You're right. Like, but I better figure it out, huh? And Arlet just comes in and reminds her that, yeah, like, we've all made mistakes, but you're not alone in this, and you're never going to be alone, and we're going to figure this out. And this chapter ends with Vega being just kind of like, all right, well, before I smite anyone, before we use Bridger, before we do any of those things, I need to get my memories back so I can make this decision for myself. They're going to set in motion Vega get her memories back. This goes into chapter 19. Chapter 19 is kind of a little bit of a time jump situation. This was kind of a little jump back because this is Bridger coming back to Vincier and is like, we need to have a meeting, make sure all of my soldiers are here in 10 minutes. So Bridger goes in there and he lays it all out. He's like, I need 15 level 10 soldiers for a secret mission kind of thing. We're going to go on the hunt for Vega. We need to find her. She's here. We don't know where she's been. She got away. And while he is making these orders and also saying that they're going to go to Solem and have some presence there because he believes that Solem is going to be the next territory to like desert in a way. They're going to be the next one to like rebel against Marlena's rule. He's making these announcements, and while he's talking, he overhears two soldiers being like, oh yeah, she got away. Really hard to believe. And then another one being like, yeah, I wonder if she's like as good looking as we remember her being. Like, do you think she's still hot in this life, basically? And Bridger overhears this, and he ends up in that guy's face. So homie's like, I'm sorry, I like didn't mean it like that. Like, I just thought I'd be under her spell too. And he's like, too, and then realizes, what are his soldiers saying behind his back? And Bridger does run a tight ship, and he is known to be ruthless, and Bridger's not going to keep anyone in his army who he doesn't think has his back. Haha, is this a new angle? It sure is, because I need a new phone, and I have no storage, so we're going to have to do rapid fire, get through this as quickly as we possibly can. Okay, so let's get through this. Bridger kills one of his soldiers because he says something ill about Vega. He storms off after doing this. Meyer later on comes into his room and finds Bridger drunk, and Bridger kind of decides he's going to be a fucking asshole basically is like, they deserve this because they're not listening to me, and I'm sick of them not listening to me, and they need to be reminded. Remember that I'm your commander, Meyer. I'm not your friend. So he's saying these awful things that he probably like doesn't really mean, but he's just pissed. So he just says that I'm done being disrespected, and we go into chapter 20, and we get to see Vega's powers in this. We get to see her lightning, very small, of course. Vega doesn't know how to use these powers. Court is trying to teach her. So we're getting to see Court, and we're also getting to see Vega being like, wow, he's like kind of cute. And then being like, hold on, he's supposed to be your best friend. You can't do that. You can't do that. You just see how Court reacts to situations. And they kind of start to talk about Bridger and the bond that they all have. Talking about Bridger is not Court's favorite subject. He's pushing her and he's saying one more time, and Vega's exhausted because they've been going at this all day. She doesn't remember how to control these powers. Her body doesn't remember how to control these powers.
This is how we're finishing this revenge recap. I have been fighting with my phone all day. It has gone off. It has my mic stopped working at one point, and I had 40 minutes of video. I've been fighting with this since 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and it's 2:20 in the morning. So I'm gonna finish here on my computer, and I will have to figure out, my phone is just, it's older, it's only 2 years old, but you know how that is. She does not have any storage left, and that's becoming an issue. I can't do almost anything. I'm gonna turn this light off. Let's finish. I don't really know where I ended off, but we're gonna finish up chapter 20. After they are talking about Bridger, Court is like, okay, that's enough. We're done talking about him, and let's do this again. And Big is like, I'm tired. We're not doing this anymore. And he's like, again. And he has this like really like authoritative command to him. And she's like, no. Might have like been okay with this in other lives, but like this version of me, that's not gonna fly. He's goading her, and he's like, you feel that like raw anger? He's like, use it, remind everyone who you are and what you can do, because they're forgetting. Rein it in, control the downfall, let it consume you. When you're mad, you're gonna battle like tired, fried, worried. You're gonna fight in all of the ways. You don't want to end up like some of your other lives where you're just dead and nothing matters. He's basically just preparing her. Sometimes you don't need to be the nicest to your friends. Sometimes your friends need to hear what they need to hear. He's basically like, don't falter this time. Once you remember, also don't forget what Bridger has done to you, and use that anger, use it, and let it fuel you in this life. And I think that's good advice for her to get at this point. And when he leaves and leaves her alone, she has this moment where she's like, okay, you're not alone. Like, you've never been alone. These friends and these people have been with you through it all. And that is where we end on chapter 20. After everything that I've gone through today, I thought the last time I did this recording was bad. Today my plan was to get through 2, and I have pieced together 1. Thank you for coming to this revenge recap, and hopefully next week is just a little smoother for me, because my God, was this a pain in the ass. I hope you guys are at least enjoying this, because I am not. Love you. Goodbye.